Good morning, everybody, and this is your S&P 500 day trade setups for today. And the confusion continues. Pretty simple. We have the inverse, sorry, not inverse, but the head and shoulders. You can see there's the left shoulder. Here's sort of a double head, and the right shoulder here. And we have broken through. We came back. We rejected it. So big up, big down. But as I said yesterday, this also looks like a wedge that is forming. So on the one side, it does look like a market that's trying to recover and sort of trying to find its feet. And at the moment, that area is pretty much in this zone that I gave you yesterday. So that was 4,400. At the moment, that's kind of the big picture. If you look at the oscillators, no diversions or anything at the moment, but we are looking to cross over again for another move up. I suspect we're probably going to bounce around in here. Earnings season kicks off today. JP Morgan and BlackRock are the two notable results coming out today. Won't have much impact on the S&P, but will definitely set the scene for the financial sector going forward. So that's just something to pay attention to today, I suppose. See what's happening, and then obviously, the argument at the moment is really about whether the Feds are going to keep raising interest rates like they say, and some people are expecting up to 8 interest rate hikes this year, or are they going to bail out Wall Street? Basically where we are. War in Ukraine is almost forgotten by the markets right now. Anyway, let's get down to the levels that we can trade. And yesterday was a pretty much big up, big down day. Kind of came off the levels that we were looking at. But, this little move above here, and I'll show you on the lower time frames, it moved up dramatically. So it was 200 points past the level and then rejected it. But the moral of the story is quite simple. Keep your trade positions really small, and your stops are going to be relatively wide. You're not going to be able to get stops close to price at the moment. So there you see, what we were expecting was a bounce off here. Didn't get it, got a close above it. Then we got a hanging man. Then you sort of came back. So I suppose we could argue that if we had 3 levels drawn in, so our first level, let's just get it exact. So there's our first level on these two tails here. There's our second level, which also failed. And then where is the third level, which didn't really get there? You can see there. That would be my third level there. Possibly you could use any of these levels in between as well. Basically, it did not get to where it was. Got all the way up to the trend line, basically, and came back. You can see that, as I said to you when we did the video yesterday, we're grouping on the trend line at the downside, more than likely a break to the upside, but we didn't get a decent break, or a decent setup, should I say. We got the break, but we didn't get a setup that I could see. So you can see below the level, above the level, didn't really come back and test it. Closed the gap, didn't even come back, didn't break above the gap and come back, didn't bounce off these levels here. So pretty much a big up, big down day. If you look at the moving average at the moment, they're still sort of bearish on the 15-minute, and we're grouping the upside. I suspect we're probably going to come back to test this area now. So today, I think this is the area to pay attention to, 4,400. If we can get a decent test of 4,400, we did get one going at the close. Yeah, you can see. Broke back below it and then came up. So that's a decent pin bar. I would prefer it to be a green pin bar, but it is a pin bar nevertheless. So we have broken above it. So what I'm looking for is just looking for structure somewhere in this area, and this 4,400 is probably the critical area to pay attention to. If we come back to here and we start getting sort of another pin bar or inside bar, or even just a higher low, and that's kind of what I'm really looking for, is the higher low. That would give me some confidence that we're moving back to at least the top of the wedge. To break the wedge, we're obviously going to need to get above this area here at 44.75. So it's quite a big zone that we're stuck in at the moment. Yeah, small positions, guys. Don't try and second guess this at the moment. It's just going to hurt you. So we do have a little bit of diversions on the 8 hour. You can see low, lower low, and then oscillators, sort of a higher low. moving averages all pointing to the downside. So that is something which you do definitely need to pay attention to. I just want to just take out those two levels there. So you do have obviously the swing low, which is the, let's just keep one of them in, I think, which is the head and shoulders level. So you do have this area here, but I would expect either a break of this or support of 4400, or alternatively rejection of 4452. Rejection of 4452 would get me short because that is the trend at the moment, but a stop above the swing high of yesterday, and we're looking for a move down. But when the market does this in a day, there's no real direction. It's just a big up, big down. There's no structure. There's no levels that we're bouncing off. It's just safer to keep your money in your pocket when you see this kind of things. I just want to close off with a 5-minute chart. So I haven't looked at it yet, but just to see if there was anything here. So the only thing that we did have was a moving average crossover here, and then the bouncing on the 155. So there was an entry there, and I suppose you could have taken a full size position and then just use that pin bar as the bottom of the pin bar as your stop area. But often it comes back and tests this level here as well. So 50-50 call, but then you've got an exhaustion bar here, and that would have immediately set the alarm bells off, and I would have got out of that if I was on that trade. So you can see even on the 5 minutes, below the moving averages, above the moving averages, below the moving averages, and now we're above the moving averages again. But I expect us to be below the moving averages, and then sort of just volatility continue probably to the rest of the week as the traders. I think a lot of people are probably just going to take time off. I mean, today is the start of a long weekend for most of the Western world. So, you probably find traders just going to throw in the towel at the moment and just leave it alone and come back next week, which is kind of where I'm leaning at the moment anyway. Anyway, that's enough for me today. Hope it help you somewhat, but moral of my story is sitting quietly, not bothering with this right now. Catch up with you tomorrow. Enjoy the day.